Thanks for joining us today at HXGN TV. I'm your host, Neville Judd, and today we're discussing HXGN Smart Convergence. Joining me here is Dr. Asif Rana, who is Executive Manager of the Application Center in the Hexagon Innovation Hub. Asif, thanks very much for joining us.
You're welcome.
So Asif, Smart Convergence to me is the integration of information from sensors, machines, smart devices to drive these real-time workflows. What are some of the ways this convergence platform will change the way solutions are developed for our clients?
Yeah. So Smart Convergence has multiple components. One of the important component is interoperability. Okay. And that's where you have different machines, sensors, devices. You would like to bring them together.
Right.
And that's what we do with the interoperability. On the other side, there is also advanced analytics. And this is using the historical data to find some insights into the information. And this can bring some value to the customers. I mean, a lot of value. It's really being used a lot.
Okay. Is this comparable to the so-called Internet of Things? Is there that parallel?
Yeah, absolutely. It is very much comparable. Actually, Internet of Things, I mean, if you look at it, it's really like a big word.
Right.
And it has many, realizations.
Yeah.
It can be Industry 4.0 on one side. It can be called Internet of Things. It's really like smart factory or connected factory. And what we are doing in the Convergence platform is really bringing all of these things together.
Right.
Which means by using Convergence platform, you can say that yes, we have also kind of tapped into the potential of Internet of Things.
Okay. Mm-hmm. What are some of the industries that will benefit from this kind of technology?
I mean, in my understanding, it's really a global phenomenon. I mean, you can really benefit from it in everywhere.
Yep.
But I can really mention some of them. If you look into, for example, the smart cities,
yep.
It's really something where the technology is making lots of useful impact. And you can look at e-governance, for example. Mm-hmm. You can look at public safety, mm-hmm. smart policing, for example.
Right.
Everywhere where we have really devices and systems, and we can bring them together
right.
to make them smart, improve people's life. There is a use case for smart convergence.
Right.
But also, for example, there is metrology industry, there is mining, there is agriculture, and then you can have fleet management. Bring devices together, get useful insights, and then make them smarter by sending workflows.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Let's get into some details. What are some of the real-life applications, some of the ways that you could use this convergence platform?
Absolutely. One of the earliest things that we tried when we are developing the smart convergence is the machine-to-machine connectivity.
Right.
So imagine you have a factory floor, and on this factory floor you have thousands of machines.
Right.
And you can imagine, I mean, the machines are doing their job, their processes, but there's really lot of useful data that you can combine together and then have them connected with one another. So if you have, for example, one workflow that's going like this, and something has to go through different machine steps, and this machine is now not working. Mm-hmm. Instead of a human being coming there and manually finding out that this machine is not working,
right.
if there were a machine-to-machine communication, that makes the whole process smart. Mm-hmm. So the smart machines or machine-to-machine connectivity can be tapped by Convergence platform. It's a very good use case for the Convergence platform. Also, you can do advanced analytics, for example, on the data, which means you can do the predictive health, for example, which means you keep on taking all the data, you observe the patterns which lead to failures, and now you can predict. So now the machine is running, the customer is using it, but because we have collected all this historical data, we now know that if this trend continues, then after 1 week it will fail.
Right.
And this is a very, very useful insight. If you can do this insight, the customer can plan it, and then they can do their scheduling on this information. It's a lot of value for our customers. So, there are really good use cases.
Right. This actually ties in closely to some recent speeches, I think, that Ola Roland, the CEO of Hexagon, has made about smarter ways of working.
Smart build, for example.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, look at the smart build. there's this huge construction industry. Just go on, if you go on a construction field, you see there are, tons of devices there of each type. There are scanners, there are, diggers, there are dozers, and then there are people there who are then, driving them or working on them. At the end of the whole story, there is a plan. And this plan, unfortunately, at the moment is not perfectly synchronized.
No.
If we can, synchronize them and connect them and converge them together and analyze the, progress of the things as they are happening on the construction side, and then we see if they are as, built as designed, for example.
Right.
This is really the value where the convergence plays a very, very vital role.
Right.
I think the smart build initiatives like what Hexagon is going into, as we have a lot of value coming from the convergence platform.
So what are some of the other ways this will create value for customers, you think, aside from smart build?
There is another very important aspect where, you should imagine that there are customers who are using like big infrastructures. Just imagine there's a police department which we are serving by our public safety projects. And now they would like to bring some new instruments into their solution, like new type of cars or new type of devices or scanners or forensic devices. Instead of starting a very large new implementation project, just imagine that you bring in convergence. Instead of development, we focus on configuration. So you configure the solution. No need to hire large development resources. You configure the solution, you test it, and you deploy it. So there is a lot of value by just solution configuration. Also, I think as I told you before, there is this smart, the machine prediction, for example, which is another smartness that's come. At the end of the day, you have to see that there is this whole thing about IoT, the connectivity, convergence, it all is about smartness, which means we would like to improve how we use the machines, we would like to improve how the factory floor is being used, we would like to improve the lives of the people who use those machines and how they interact with this. So if we can gather all of this data in a useful way and then glean some insights into this data and then use this to drive the workflows in the factories or in the people's lives. For example, you have the examples of the smart thermostat, for example. So this all ties into the same picture. I think convergence platform has a very solid potential for Hexagon.
Sum up for me the key takeaways for you for the convergence platform for the future.
The things I think that people should really take from this discussion is that we can consolidate data from any type of device, from any sensor, any software application of any type together. And then once we have this data, which could be coming from telemetry also, we can then define customized workflows, which means if the factory was operating like this, we say, no, we have found out a much better way, it should work like this. And this is really the use, this is extremely useful thing. So we have consolidation of data, we have the dynamic workflows, and then we have also like advanced analytics, which can be deployed directly in the factory to gather the data to learn from it.
Right. Asif, thanks very much for joining us today.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
We'd like to thank our guest, Dr. Asif Rana, for joining us today. To find out more about Hexagon, visit hexagon.com, and to watch more episodes of HXGN TV, visit hxgntv.com. Thanks very much for watching.